We start season 1 in the sunken city of Relay, which was the slumbering ground for the original god Cthulhu. And this is where all the gameplay and all the factions now are going to fight over this central location. And this is the location where not just Cthulhu's sleeping, but it's where all his minions and his armies and the armies of the other elder gods created an armistice and now are also sleeping in this undersea city. As we go through this city and we explore it, we're going to start tripping booby traps, opening doors that humanity was never supposed to open again.
You know, the reason why we wanted to go to Kickstarter, you know, we talked about maybe going out and getting major licenses from, you know, the big three, you know, Disney or Marvel or whomever, or DC. And we really wanted to have the opportunity to talk to an audience that loves their characters, loves their ideas, loves their concepts. And so immediately we looked at the H.P. Lovecraft crowd.
I was a weird kid. I grew up reading H.P. Lovecraft. I loved it. I read everything he ever put out. I even bought books of his correspondence between August Derleth and all these other people that were writing contemporaries of his time. And I said, H.P. Lovecraft has always set on almost the fringe. It's always been a property that has a huge following. It's influenced all kinds of other writers and other very famous writers to do things, but it itself hasn't entered the mainstream. And we really thought, hey, what can we do to make it easier for people to understand these ideas of existential horror?
So what we did with our game is we broke it down into multiple factions.
And those 3 playable factions then become the basis of what I can field in battle, what kind of equipment I have access to, what kind of heroes I have access to, all based on the faction's makeup. Lovecraft really put all of his mythos in Portsmouth, and in that little city there's a Miskatonic U, and that's where a lot of these professors and people that weren't supposed to delve into this archaic archaeology and concepts and these things hidden from mankind stumble upon it or find it actively, and the world turns terrible for them. So we said, this university in our game is where the good guys exist, or our de facto human race. Because when this Lovecraftian universe tries to impose on our universe, they send heroes out to stop that. One of their main foes is the cultists. And the cultists are people that they don't necessarily worship the elder gods. They see the elder gods as a means to an end and a means to take power. If they can solve the mysteries of the elder gods, if they can figure out what makes them tick, they can harness that power and use it for their own means. One of the ways they do it is they were started by basically mathematicians. And mathematicians that use paper to unfold paper as a way, origami as a way to solve high-end mathematical problems about dimensionality. So the cultists have used paper magic in order to be able to build portals into the other worlds to bring through things that shouldn't exist in our world that they can then harness and use to make them more powerful. The hybrid faction are the ones that have drank the Kool-Aid, I call it. They're the ones that basically do worship these elder gods. And they think that the more they become like the elder god, the more humanity they relinquish, and the more misshapen, honestly, they become, and the more monstrous and mutated, the closer they are to their version of divinity. So they see them, the elder gods, as something to attain to. So they want our world to become the elder god's world. They want to open the portals to let them all through, which would end humanity. So they're really the ultimate bad guys. They don't want to harness like the cultists. They don't want to stop it like Miskatonic U. They want to just open the floodgates and let all this stuff through. And they themselves let it through in their own misshapen bodies and their allegiance to this kind of like a blue blood and royalty type of status. So as these maps, which are a piece of this slumbering city, this underwater city, get pulled into our world and we battle on them, there will be parts of these maps which have keys to the storyline, to the back histories, to deeper understanding of the characters that we're playing with, that are part of the map. And they're, I call it, kind of side goals. I'm fighting you, that's my main goal, we're competing together, but if I take the time to go over to some of these areas, I will end up getting VR experiences, additional AR experiences, additional backstories about what this city was, what these characters were, what this original war between the gods was all about, which just gives you deeper into the mythos.